Good morning/afternoon, everyone. Today, we're diving into a fascinating and important topic: understanding stimulants. We'll be exploring substances like cocaine, methamphetamine, and ADHD medications, looking closely at how they work in the brain, patterns of abuse, the health risks involved, and the approaches we use for treatment. I'm excited to share insights that will help us better understand these powerful drugs and their impact on individuals and society. Let's get started. Cocaine and methamphetamine are powerful stimulants that affect the central nervous system, meaning they significantly alter how the brain and body function. One of the most important things to understand is that both substances have a very high potential for addiction. This addiction can lead to serious health problems, such as issues with the heart and blood vessels, damage to the nervous system, and a range of mental health disorders. Beyond the direct health concerns, these drugs also have wide-reaching social consequences. Their use is often linked to increased crime rates, substantial economic burdens, and challenges that strain public health systems. Because of these serious impacts, it's crucial that we gain a deep understanding of how these drugs work in the body, how abuse patterns develop, and what treatment options are available. This knowledge is key to effectively addressing the many consequences associated with their use. Cocaine works in the brain mainly by blocking the reuptake of dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter closely linked to our reward and pleasure systems. When this reuptake is blocked, dopamine starts to build up in synapses, the spaces between neurons, which intensifies and prolongs its effects. This accumulation results in feelings of intense euphoria, a surge of energy, and overall stimulation. But cocaine doesn't just affect dopamine. It also impacts serotonin and norepinephrine systems, which adds to its complex influence on mood and alertness. These combined disruptions in brain chemistry are what make cocaine so addictive, as they fundamentally alter neural pathways linked to pleasure and reward. Cocaine is primarily abused in two forms: powder and crack. The powder form is usually snorted or injected, while crack cocaine is typically smoked. Smoking crack leads to an intense and immediate high, which often causes users to go through rapid cycles of use, significantly increasing the risk of addiction. We also see demographic variations in how these substances are used. Crack is more commonly found in socioeconomically disadvantaged urban areas, whereas powder cocaine use tends to be more widespread across different populations. Another key point is the pattern of binge use. Users often engage in repeated binges, which not only heightens their tolerance but also deepens their dependence on the drug. Socially, the impacts differ depending on the form and frequency of cocaine use. These differences also extend to health consequences, with varied risks and effects tied to how and how often the drug is consumed. Understanding these patterns helps us grasp the complexity of cocaine and crack abuse. When it comes to treating cocaine dependence, a combination of behavioral therapies and support services is usually the most effective approach. One key therapy is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, which helps patients recognize the thoughts and behaviors that lead to drug use and then work to change them. Another important method is contingency management, which rewards patients for staying abstinent, reinforcing positive behavior. It's important to note that currently, there are no FDA-approved medications specifically for cocaine addiction, so psychosocial interventions remain the cornerstone of treatment. Effective programs typically include detoxification to manage withdrawal, relapse prevention strategies, and mental health support. Finally, tailoring treatment plans to the individual's specific needs is crucial to improving their chances of lasting recovery. Amphetamines work by increasing the release of dopamine and norepinephrine in the brain, while also blocking their reuptake. This means these chemicals stay active longer, boosting their stimulant effects. As a result, you experience heightened alertness, improved concentration, and a surge of energy, although these effects are temporary. Amphetamines also impact serotonin levels, which plays a key role in regulating mood. The increased neurotransmitter levels influence neural circuits that manage reward, attention, and arousal. This explains why amphetamines are used therapeutically, but also why they have the potential for abuse. Ultimately, the changes in brain chemistry are what give amphetamines their powerful stimulating effects as well as their addictive properties. Methamphetamine can be abused in a variety of ways, including smoking, injecting, snorting, or taking it orally. Among these, smoking and injecting produce rapid and intense effects, which often contribute to binge use and a higher risk of addiction. Typically, users take repeated doses over several hours or even days. Try and maintain a euphoric high and avoid the unpleasant withdrawal symptoms. Unfortunately, chronic use leads to serious physical, cognitive, and psychiatric problems. It's also important to note that methamphetamine abuse affects a wide range of social and demographic groups, showing how pervasive this issue really is. Stimulant medications like amphetamines and methylphenidate are the most commonly prescribed treatments for ADHD. They work by boosting dopamine and norepinephrine levels in key areas of the brain responsible for attention and executive function. This helps improve concentration, reduce impulsivity, and control hyperactivity. When taken as directed, these medications are both effective and safe. However, it's important to monitor patients closely to catch and manage any side effects that may arise. Finally, stimulant treatment is usually just one part of a broader, comprehensive approach that also includes behavioral therapy to support overall progress. Stimulants prescribed for ADHD are effective when used properly, but unfortunately, they can be misused or abused, especially by people who don't have a medical need but are looking for cognitive enhancement or a euphoric feeling. Abuse can take different forms, such as taking higher doses than prescribed, using the medication through alternative routes like snorting or injecting, or simply using it without medical supervision. These behaviors significantly increase the risk of developing dependency, as well as serious cardiovascular problems and psychiatric issues. Another factor contributing to this problem is diversion, where prescribed stimulants are shared or sold, making them more widely available to those who might misuse them. That's why raising awareness and implementing prevention strategies are crucial to ensure the safe use of these medications and protect patients and the broader community. To wrap up, let's review the key points. First, cocaine and methamphetamine are powerful stimulants that drastically alter brain chemistry by increasing dopamine and other neurotransmitters, which makes them highly addictive. Next, patterns of abuse vary depending on the drug form and the user's background. For example, crack cocaine and methamphetamine often lead to rapid, intense cycles of use. When it comes to treatment, behavioral therapies are the main approach since we don't currently have approved medications specifically for cocaine dependence. While stimulants used to treat ADHD do have therapeutic benefits, they also come with risks of misuse. So caution is important. Finally, understanding all these dynamics, the brain impact, patterns of use, treatment options, and risks, is crucial for developing effective interventions and public health strategies.